Who found this?
Rick and I spotted it, and John also spotted
It looks like it was removed from whatever it was removed from with tin snips.
Up here.
Very roughly to snip, yeah, kind of.
But this side was torn.
Think so?
I don't see tin snips here. Do you?
Well,
I think it failed along the rivet line, the big rivet line here.
There's one rivet there.
And there is one rivet present right there.
Nice flat head.
These are very precisely
I measured them
aligned.
exactly on a 1-inch center.
And that says aviation. There's a lot of information on this thing. And we can learn things about this.
So I've been involved with doing some imaging work, trying to identify the relationship of 22V1 to a photograph taken in Miami, which was taken immediately after the patch was put on the window. We can see in the photograph a lot of reflection from the aluminum, so we know it was just freshly applied. The three things that I need to do in order to establish the relationship is to first establish scale in both photographs, rotational basis for both photographs, match up rotations, match up scales, and then finally translation, figuring out where within that, once it's at the proper rotation and the proper scale, where it should fit in like a jigsaw puzzle piece. The key issue is that 22V1 as an artifact has 5 lines of visible rivets. And so the first question is, do those rivet lines align with the Electra as seen in the Miami photograph? The second thing that's of interest in 22V1 is whether or not a proper translation, in other words, where exactly does it fit, can be established. And what we're able to establish today was that not necessarily the existence of a stringer per se that was vertically through 22V1, but instead some kind of support that was behind it that left a kind of impression on 22V1 that just hasn't been observed before. We got some good photography of that. So that establishes a pretty conclusive translational position. And so once you know the rotation and you know the scale and you know the translation, it's either going to be right or wrong with respect to the actual subject airplane structure.
What we know about this, we know a lot about this. The NTSB laboratory did the analysis for us of the materials. And this is 24ST L-clad, today be 2024. L-clad, 32 thousandths. It has, and that's what this airplane is made of. All Lockheed Electras. It has a surviving rivet. It's a little number 3 flat brazier head rivet, very common on Lockheed 10s. It has 5 rivet lines, here, 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 and those are all 1-inch pitch number 3 rivets, just like this one. And then along this line, this was a staggered row of number 5s. It's a piece of metal out of the middle of a bigger piece of metal because there's no finished edge on this thing. Gather around. In early '37, she was setting the airplane up for her first world flight attempt, and she added this window to the right rear fuselage. Cut it, supposedly for the navigator. When she gets to Miami, May 23rd, the window was still there. This is a selfie she took with, that's her husband's daughter-in-law. But when she leaves Miami, this is taxiing out on the morning of June 1st, the window's gone, and it's replaced with just a plain aluminum patch. It's shiny, new aluminum. you're just seeing a reflection of the horizon here. And this is a photo of taken off. You can see that patch again. And there she's in Karachi, being refueled, and you can see a little bit of it there. There. This is in Lae, New Guinea. You can still see it. Yeah. 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 I'm probably gonna block. What are we gonna do? Put this inside the airplane?
Well, yeah, we're both outside and inside, so I'm gonna get that outer area done on the
Okay.
airplane first, and then
All right.
we'll try that.
All right.
Yeah.
And see, just. Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, now, what you're lining out is the outer edges, how do I explain this? Are these the dimensions of the window patch?
Probably ran into each other.
Because, for example, we can see that they did not attach the window, rivet the window coving frame to this. They added a stiffener right there. So it's, the patch of window started in here.
Okay, shall I move that?
We're very interested in exactly where the patch was on the airplane. And we want to reproduce those dimensions on this airplane. So we're carefully taping off the dimensions of the patch as best we can see them from the photographs on the outside and the inside of the airplane. And then we can compare, and we've also taped off the artifact, various dimensions on the artifact. So now we can hold the artifact up to the airplane and see what lines up with what. It's one thing to just hold a thing up and say, yeah, that looks like it's about right. And it's another thing to quantify it with actual measurement. And say, okay, this is so many inches from here, and it's the same on the artifact, if it is. Bottom edge is here. Boy, that's tight. Things to point out, not only does everything line up, but we have the structure at station 307 that is a 5/8 inch wide channel that just happens to line up right. We see impressions of it on the artifact, and we have a rivet that damaged, when it pulled out, it damaged the structure, because there's structure in here that this was riveted to. And the distance from here to here on the artifact matches the distance from here to here on the airplane. I mean, these things that line up and match up don't happen by coincidence. Yeah. That's just too good. Consider the null hypothesis, that this is not the patch on Earhart's airplane. This has nothing to do with Earhart's airplane. This is a random piece of airplane wreckage that happened to wash up on the same Pacific island where we have so much other evidence that Earhart ended up.